You're watching Camnet TV live from Lusaka. Here, the top stories on our desk this evening. KAMBWILI fails to appear before court for commencement of defense in a defamation of the president case. COVID-19 claims 48 lives in 24 hours with 326 new cases recorded. VEEP charges that violence has no place in Zambia. In international news, Mali displaced people afraid to go back home. And in sports news, BAZO rescues KALAMPA as they continue to fight relegation. Let's take a breather. Join me shortly for the details.
Zambia has embarked on an economic journey for individual financial emancipation, empowering its citizens through land acquisition and developing the nation through agriculture. This time, Zambians are coming together, taking it upon themselves with the help of government to develop this great nation by taking individual responsibility and ownership of this great nation. The economic revolution has started. There are thousands of Zambians with a can-do mindset who are resolute, unstoppable, full of confidence and conviction that Zambia's set time of favor for development is now. Don't be left out. This could be the time you have been waiting for. Camnet Television, in conjunction with the United Agrivision Consultancy Limited, will be hosting a national conference on becoming a millionaire through agriculture. Date 1st October and 2nd October 2021. Charges 750 kwacha per person per day, that includes lunch. A limited number of participants through Zoom have also been reserved. You can also be part of the conference from the comfort of your home by registering online via Zoom, joining the people who were born for greatness. Charges for participation via Zoom are only 300 kwacha per person. Time 0730 hours to 17 hours. Registration and confirmation of attendance will take place on the 29th of September 2021. Time 14 hours to 17 hours. Venue the Healing Word Ministries International, the home of Camnet Television in Apex Hill, Kabulonga Road, Lusaka.
Once again, thank you for choosing us. The news in detail. Patriotic Front member Chimba KAMBWILI has failed to open his defense in a case where he is accused of referring to President Edgar Lungu to a dog on grounds that he was unwell. This is in a matter where the former opposition leader of the National Democratic Congress Party has been charged with one count of defamation of the president contrary to the laws of Zambia. When the matter came up for opening of defense before Lusaka resident Magistrate Lamek Mwale, Mr. KAMBWILI's surety, Kwango Mukopa, said the former traveled to Chinsali and was diagnosed with malaria and was given 7 days bed rest. But the sick note which was issued to KAMBWILI had no date, forcing the court to question whether it was authentic. Miriam Kayamba filed this report.
Former National Democratic Congress leader, now a member of the Patriotic Front, after rejoining the party recently, Chimba KAMBWILI, who was on Wednesday morning, the 16th of June 2021, expected to appear before the Chief Resident Magistrate to commence his defense in a case he's accused of insulting the head of state, failed to do so. This is following his surety informing the court that the former, who had traveled to Chinsali, had been diagnosed with malaria. In this case, KAMBWILI stands charged with one count of defamation of the president. Allegations are that on dates unknown, but between 26 and 27 August 2019, with intent to bring the name of the president into hatred, ridicule or contempt, he did publish an insulting matter by word of mouth. Last month, on the 31st of May 2021, the accused was expected to open his defense, but the state informed the court that it had received instructions regarding the case, which was yet to be discussed. Equally, KAMBWILI's lawyer Keith Mwemba also informed the court that he was not ready to proceed because they had in-house issues that they needed to sort out. But this morning, the court was left to give another adjournment after receiving the sick report of the accused. The accused, who has been frequenting the magistrate ground, has however been left with 2 cases before court and has been put on defense in both cases. Among those is the one before Magistrate Lamek Mwale, the defamation case, while the other is that before Magistrate Mwakami Kalile, where he has been jointly charged with his son, Mwamba, and 3 others with 35 counts of being in possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime, among other charges. The accused is expected to appear before court on the 27th of July to commence his defense. In the case, he is accused of insulting President Lungu. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Still in court news, the Lusaka High Court has said 20th of July 2021 as Judgment Day in a case where 4 former pupils of Twin Palm Secondary School are accused of murdering a grade 12 pupil of Kablonga Boys Secondary School in 2020. This is in a case in which Elvis Sokolo is jointly charged with 3 other juveniles aged between 16 and 18 for the alleged murder of Ryan Peary on the 4th of December 2020 during a fight between pupils of Twin Palm Secondary School and Kablonga Boys Secondary School. When the case came up for opening of defense, the 4 denied causing the death of Ryan, all claiming that they were never present at the event. Miriam Kaimba once again brought us this report.
The 4 former Twin Palm Secondary School pupils who are accused of ending the life of a Kablonga pupil last year, Ryan Peary, who was only aged 17 at the time of his death, will have to wait for 34 days to hear the High Court's judgment in their alleged murder case. This is in a case in which Elvis Nsokolo is jointly charged with 3 juveniles aged between 16 and 18 for the alleged murder of Peary on the 4th of December 2020 during a fight between pupils from Twin Palm and Kablonga Boys Secondary School. And when the matter came before court this morning for commencement of defense, all the 4 denied the allegations, claiming that they were never present at the scene. Elvis Nsokolo, aged 19, who first took the stand, testified that on the material day, the 4th of December 2020, he was at school when unknown Kablonga pupils went to their school and started throwing stones. He explained that after 10 minutes, they were released to go home, but on his way, some of the Kablonga boys started following him, and one of them, who he identified as Vincent Ngoma, approached him with a punch, which in return he did the same. He testified that the confusion arose between the pupils of Kablonga and Twin Palm. He went home, and a few days later he was caught by the police to give his testimony. The court further heard testimony from all the offenders that they were not together when the alleged incident occurred. They all claimed to have used different routes on their way back home, some stating that they were never in school on that particular day. The court has since set 20th July as Judgment Day in the case. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Government has directed the closure of all primary and secondary schools for the next 21 days in the wake of the increased COVID-19 cases, with a record of 48 deaths in 24 hours. Secretary to the Cabinet, Dr. Simon Miti, says the decision to close schools is subject to review, but that pupils in boarding schools will remain within their school premises until their parents are ready to pick them up. Meanwhile, universities, colleges and other tertiary education facilities have also been directed to offer online classes for the next 1 month, while churches will only have 2 services in a week for 1 hour each. Prudence filed this report.
The Zambian government has, for the second time since the outbreak of the pandemic in the country, instituted strong public health measures to curb the further transmission of COVID-19 and, more importantly, save lives, livelihoods, schools and the economy. With COVID-19 isolation facilities now full to capacity, the country has recorded the highest single most death, where 48 people have succumbed to the pandemic in the last 24 hours. Secretary to Cabinet Dr. Simon Miti, who addressed the country Wednesday morning, says Zambia has recorded the highest number of COVID-19 admissions at 195 patients, the highest number of cases and the highest number of deaths in a single day during the 3rd wave.
Last 24 hours, we recorded 3,026 confirmed COVID-19 cases out of 12,928 tests conducted. giving a 23% positivity. This 23% positivity is unprecedented. We've not had this high number of positivity in the country. On a very sad note and disheartening note, as a country, we report the highest number of deaths ever since the beginning of the pandemic in Zambia, with the 48 deaths in the last 24 hours. As you have been noticing each day, the number of people we are losing from COVID-19 has continued to increase at an alarming rate.
And Dr. Miti has announced measures and restrictions the government has instituted to stop the spread.
Places of worship will be restricted to conducting a maximum of 2 meetings in a week of 1 hour duration while observing all the 5 golden rules. Number 4, bars, nightclubs, casinos, taverns will not operate from Monday to Thursday, but to only open from Friday to Sunday from 18 hours to 22 hours. Law enforcement agencies are hereby directed to ensure that this measure is enforced without fail.
Among other things, primary and secondary schools have not been spared.
Primary and secondary schools shall be closed for 21 days, subject to review, inspection, and certification, and depending on how the pandemic will evolve. Direct school authorities to use this opportunity to conduct preventive monitoring and maintenance activities. In case of boarding schools, authorities are urged to keep children in schools until guardians or parents send transport logistics for them.
The battle to fight COVID-19 cannot be won without the full participation and engagement of every Zambian. It is a responsibility of everyone to do their part, irrespective of their religious or political affiliation, in ensuring that the spread of COVID-19 is curbed. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Well, indeed, the fight against pandemic needs concerted efforts. Meanwhile, the Young Men Christian Association of Zambia has suspended all major activities to do with community engagements. YMCA President Anton Ranjan says social media platforms should be utilized during this period as they are cost-effective and convenient. And Mr. Ranjan has condemned the current political violence that has continued to characterize the campaign period. He says youth in the country should engage in productive activities and not be used as tools of violence.
Zambia YMCA has with immediate effects suspended all major activities to do with community engagements. Remember that social distancing does not mean social isolation. This generation is blessed with a great opportunity to make full use of information communication technologies, ICTs. I urge you all to arrange virtual meetings for both formal and social purposes via video conferencing tools provided by the number of online communication platforms. In any case, such arrangements are less costly compared to physical meetings and also promote environmental sustainability in many ways. I would like to take this opportunity to condemn the recent incidents of political violence experienced in some part of the country. I encourage all political leaders to openly speak against violence and urge their supporters to remain peaceful. To all our young people, please don't be tools of political violence, but be active change agents and promotes of peace in the running up to the election.
Vice President Inonga Wina has called on the church to voice out on the continued political violence in the country. Speaking in Kabwe when she addressed members of the clergy, Mrs. Wina says political violence has no place in Zambia and should be condemned by all well-meaning Zambians. And the Vice President has also called on the church to continue working with government and fostering national development. Meanwhile, Kabwe Pastors Fellowship Bishop Hector Sinyangwe has thanked government for the unprecedented development brought to the country in the past 9 years.
I wish to thank the people of Central Province for the overwhelming support towards the government of the day and for maintaining law and order in the province, especially in the face of COVID-19 pandemic. I challenge Christian men and women in the leadership of political parties not to coil into submission, but to come out with force to stop this chaos. We are also aware that there are some powerful forces pushing our country towards political instability, and this we cannot allow. And it is up to the pastors who preside over the same voters that we appeal to, who should spread the word of peace, love, and harmony for our country to go through this election with order and dignity.
Madam Vice President, would I also to recognize and appreciate the tremendous care and service you have offered to this nation over the years in your various services to Mother Zambia and now as Vice President. Your honor, you have shown the way. You have raised the standard for our women folk that it can be done if one is committed and dedicated to the vision of serving the nation. Your honor, you have scored as the first female Vice President of Zambia, and we are sincerely proud of you and your achievements.
The National Restoration Party Deputy Secretary General Martin Mulenga has expressed disappointment over the statement issued by the Patriotic Front Secretary General Davis Mwila that the police have been unprofessional in their conduct towards the issue of violence in the country. Mr. Mulenga notes that the statement by Mr. Mwila is a direct allegation that the head of state, who is the commander-in-chief, is unprofessional in the way he has been managing the police and has failed to stop the ongoing violence. He reiterated that the statement uttered is not only disappointing but shocking, especially that it is coming from the Secretary General of the ruling party. Meanwhile, Mr. Mulenga says the PF have lamentably failed to protect the lives of the people and have given themselves a vote of no confidence.
As National Restoration Party, we feel we need to express our profound disappointment by the statement attributed to Davis Mwila, the Secretary General for the Patriotic Front. Davis Mwila has been quoted as having said that the police have been so ineffective, they've been unprofessional in their conduct towards the issue of violence. So now, what we are asking that Davis Mwila in essence is saying the appointing authority, the commander-in-chief of all armed forces, is no other than President Edgar Chagwalungu. So Davis Mwila is telling his boss that he's been ineffective and he's been unprofessional in the way that he's been managing the police. So as National Restoration Party, we find that as very disappointing and shocking, especially that it's coming from the Secretary General of a ruling party. It goes down to tell us that the Patriotic Front government has failed lamentably to manage to protect human life. They proved that they failed to manage and protect property in this country.
United Party for National Development Chairperson for Community Development, Brenda Tambatamba, has condemned remarks made by the self-proclaimed Patriotic Front cadre Innocent Kalimanshi, alleging that the opposition should not conduct activities in Chawama constituency. Ms. Tambatamba says Mr. Kalimanshi has no office that authorizes him to threaten the opposition from conducting political activities in the constituency. She says such remarks contravene the Zambian constitution and that the law enforcement agencies must deal with such characters. Ms. Tambatamba adds that every Zambian has the right to be well informed about leaders aspiring to lead in various political positions.
So today, nama members wabo abayipendi kuno takwa abayipendi kuno kuchama takwa abayipendi but ngabakesa ifyako bati bena bezo ngo bafupandeni batuletele chongo imyaka ikarazi kula besha chimo kobe presence and then walete chongo munganda munyezi.
Mr. Kalimanshi is only but one citizen and he's got no office, constitutional office, that empowers him to give that statement, to make that kind of a decree. He's just a common citizen, So I want to urge the Zambian people to repel such characters and ignore them and go in multitudes to defend our materials for campaigns. He is contravening the constitution, and the law enforcement agencies, beginning with the police, must deal with such a character. Secondly, the umpire, the referee, who is supposed to supervise elections, that is the Electoral Commission of Zambia, the ECZ, are supposed to condemn this character with the strongest stem. At the strongest stem, they must condemn Mr. Kalimanshi.
Still in politics, the United Prosperous and Peaceful Zambia UPPZ President Charles Chanda has vowed to bring all perpetrators of violence to book once given a vote into office at the August 12th general elections. Mr. Chanda discloses that once his party is given the chance, they will ensure that they set up a commission of inquiry into cadre atrocities. He explains that the unbecoming activities of politically hired unruly youths need to be nipped in the bud before they escalate into a civil strife.
As UPPZ, we have decided that should the Zambians give us the mandate to govern from the 12th of August this year, 2021, as President, I will have no option but to institute a commission of inquiries to look into the atrocities committed through cadreism. And through this commission, our goal will be to find the perpetrators, those that sponsored cadreism.
The Democracy and Motherland Defenders Coalition is concerned with the increase in political violence coupled with the increase of the COVID-19 cases countrywide. Addressing the media Wednesday morning, Coalition Chairperson Andrew Ntewewe has to this effect welcomed measures put in place by the Electoral Commission of Zambia in curbing both violence and the spread of the COVID-19 third wave. Mr. Ntewewe has acknowledged that the escalating levels of COVID-19 has overwhelmed the health centers, hence making such a decision timely. And the coalition has also expressed dismay at the levels of political violence that the country is currently experiencing, adding that political leadership is clearly disregarding the call by the father of the nation.
The coalition continues to be dismayed at the levels of political violence that the country is experiencing. We are disheartened that our political leadership seems not to heed the call by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia for peace and coexistence. We are saddened that even after repeated reminders of the gravity of the political violence and its consequences, some of our leaders continue to abet and promote violence. We therefore appeal to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, to take drastic action and ensure that as a country we effectively guard jealously our peace and stability. Additionally, the police wishes to commend ECZ for the ban on roadshows across the country and campaigns in Lusaka, Mpulungu, Namwala and Nakonde. This will go a long way in ensuring that our political players understand that they cannot do as they wish. There is a referee in these elections who can crack the whip when need arises. This will enhance discipline among political players. We call on ECZ not to hesitate to impose even more stiffer punishment if the political players do not change their ways. The coalition wishes also to call on the President of the Republic not to hesitate in invoking emergency powers if the violence escalates. We in this regard commend the warning issued by the President that he can promulgate these powers if need arises.
With the recent political violence being recorded across the country, the Zambia Union of Journalists is concerned with the safety of reporters. Zambia Union of Journalists Vice President Alex Njovo has cautioned media houses to provide safety kits for identification purposes, among many other things. Mr. Njovo has also urged reporters to be objective in the manner they report stories, especially on politics.
The only way that I can give to fellow journalists is stay safe. That's the first number one thing. Stay safe. Your safety is very important. Do not go to places where your safety will be compromised. Secondly, let's be objective and let's be professional and let's be ethical in our reporting.
You're watching Camnet News just now. We'll take a breather. Join me shortly for more interesting stories.
President Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the Patriotic Front have transformed the transportation sector by facilitating the construction of bus stations around the country. Vote for Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the PF that have brought you change.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Zambia has embarked on an economic journey for individual financial emancipation, empowering its citizens through land acquisition and developing the nation through agriculture. This time, Zambians are coming together, taking it upon themselves with the help of government to develop this great nation by taking individual responsibility and ownership of this great nation. The economic revolution has started. There are thousands of Zambians with a can-do mindset who are resolute, unstoppable, full of confidence and conviction that Zambia's set time of favor for development is now. Don't be left out. This could be the time you have been waiting for. Camnet Television, in conjunction with the United Agrivision Consultancy Limited, will be hosting a national conference on becoming a millionaire through agriculture. Date 1st October and 2nd October 2021. Charges 750 kwacha per person per day, that includes lunch. A limited number of participants through Zoom have also been reserved. You can also be part of the conference from the comfort of your home by registering online via Zoom, joining the people who were born for greatness. Charges for participation via Zoom are only 300 kwacha per person. Time 0730 hours to 17 hours. Registration and confirmation of attendance will take place on the 29th of September 2021. Time 14 hours to 17 hours. Venue the Healing Word Ministries International, the home of Camnet Television in Abex Hill, Kabulonga Road, Lusaka.
You're still watching Camnet News. Thank you for staying on. The Electoral Commission of Zambia has announced that the monitoring of printing of ballot papers by stakeholders for the 2021 general elections in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, will be conducted from 1st to 28th July 2021. In a statement made available to the media, ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Patrick Shindano says all participating political parties, candidates and other stakeholders wishing to observe the printing of ballot papers should ensure that they submit the full details of the nominated person, copies of page 1 and 2 of passport, a valid visa for the period and proof of sponsorship by the organization, political party or candidate. Mr. Shindano has also mentioned that travelers must obtain a COVID-19 clearance certificate from approved medical institution at least 48 hours before travel, and that only one person per sponsoring organization will be allowed to observe the printing of the ballot papers. Participating persons have since been advised to submit required information to the Chief Electoral Officer by Wednesday, 23rd June 2021. The Media Network on Child Rights and Development says there is need to reflect on the relevance of plans to improve the welfare of children without the active participation of state parties. Organization Executive Director Henry Kawe says the African Union has come up with a robust plan that can contribute to the protection, development and participation of African children within communities. Mr. Kawe says the Agenda 2030, initiated by the African Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of Children, has 10 aspirations, among them an effective child-friendly national legislative policy and institutional framework is in place in all member states. He has since called upon member states to ensure that they make their countries aware of these aspirations and include them in their national development plans.
There is need to reflect on the relevance of plans to improve the welfare of children without active participation of member states or states parties. The African Union has come up with a robust plan that can contribute to the protection, development and participation of children within their communities. The Agenda 2040, initiated by the African Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, has 10 aspirations. These include 1. African Children's Charter, supervised by the African Children's Committee, provides an effective continental framework for advancing children's rights. 2. An effective child-friendly national legislative policy and institutional framework is in place in all member states. 3. Every child's birth and other vital statistics are registered. 4. Every child survives and has a healthy childhood. 5. Every child grows up well-nourished and with access to the basic necessities of life. 6. Every child benefits fully from quality education. 7. Every child is protected against violence, exploitation, neglect, and abuse. 8. Children benefit from child-sensitive criminal systems. 9, every child is free from the impact of armed conflicts and other disasters or emergency situations. 10, African children's views matter.
On a sad note, 19 people have been reported dead in a road traffic accident that happened on Tuesday, 15th June 2021 along Kasama-Mungwi Road in Northern Province. Northern Province Police Commissioner Justus Nsokolo has told Camnet News that the involved was a Benz truck registration number ACV 501 driven by Lewis Motale, a Kasama resident who is currently on the run. Mr. Nsokolo says the truck was carrying 57 passengers who sat on top of the goods as they were going for a business called Amunada in one of the villages. The commissioner says the cause of the accident was due to speeding, adding that 17 people are currently admitted in the hospital while 21 escaped unhurt. Meanwhile, Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, says government will take up funeral expenses for all the people who have died in the accident.
This accident happened on 15th June 2021 at 21:30 hours along Kasama-Isoka Road at a place called Kalikeka Village in Chief Chitimukulu, Mungwi District. The vehicle that was involved was a Benz truck Antego, registration number ACV 501, which was being driven by Lewis Mtare, whose age is not known, but believed to be a Kasama resident. The total number of people who were on board was 57, including the driver. 19 passengers have so far died. 16 are men and 3 women.
The Zambia Integrated Forestry Landscape Project has given sub-grant of more than 800,000 to the Committee of Malambala area trained to venture into beekeeping. Chipata District Forestry Officer Emma Sakala says the committee was trained into forestry management and beekeeping as an initiative towards safeguarding the 450 hectares Malambala Community Forest in Kasenengwa District. Speaking in an interview with Zanis, Ms. Sakala said the training of the people from within Malambala area is aimed at reducing the cutting down of trees from their community forest. Zanis has more on this story.
Government, through the Zambia Integrated Landscape Project, is working to ensure that it effectively sensitizes the local citizenry on the dangers of climate change. Chipata District Forestry Officer Emma Sakala has been training the residents of Malambala area under the ZEEP project with skills on how to safeguard their 450 hectares community forest.
As a department, we are really very grateful with the responses that most of these communities have actually come on board and helping in the natural resource management. For them, their main goal, as into what they want to benefit, are mostly the carbon credits that have actually shown that this is a REDI+ project. With the coming of this forest reserve, it has actually seen another shift in the way these people have actually understood the importance of natural resource management.
And these are people from Malambala area that were trained in forestry management and beekeeping.
Masiku kuvula patikali yambu kuteteza nkhalango yathu iyi mvula siyenzero kwa bwino chilala chezo nkhala kuchikulene koma tawatiza kasitatetezako nkhalango yathu iyi tapeza kuti mvula yala kwa bwino ndipo solo kuwecha mawechedwe kuno ani buno bwino.
Grant jachoka wanatipasa ndrama yokwanira 893,586 kwacha. So ija ndrama yamene vanatipasa itifuna ambo chita beekeeping. 25% ya iyo ndrama inachoka kudala and tinamba kudala kuyuzinga. So apa ma beehives tinachita kudala, tinachita ma quotations tinatenga. So apa tiyembekeza chabe yali mu road kuti yambe beekeeping. And ife bantu tiri ready maninge ndintewo kondwera even community yatu yonse kuikako mafumu bantu wonse vanachilandira. And tinatrene wanotrene kuchita beekeeping tiri bantu bali 50 amene tifuni koyamba kuteka njuchi mkhalango yathu.
ZEEP has been playing an effective role in the mitigation of climate change by discouraging the cutting down of trees for charcoal and agricultural practices that contribute to soil degradation. Sylvester Chimba reporting for Zanis in Eastern Province.
This is Camnet News. We take another set of commercials. Join me shortly for international and sports news.
I was born in Mwengwa in a grass-thatched house. I went to school barefoot and then to secondary school, university camp, all of these on government bursary, on the sponsorship of the people of Zambia. Many people ask me questions. Why have you continued to seek public office? You've been arrested 15 times. This fight is not about Hakainde. It's about 18 million Zambians who want a better life. I'm standing for the presidency of this country because I know and I believe that this country is so rich and yet its people live in poverty. I am standing for that child to have an opportunity to go to school the way I did myself. It's time for change. Zambians have suffered enough. I'm Hakainde Hichilema. I invite you to take my hand. Together, we will build a better life for every Zambian.
Harry Mwanga Nkumbula International Airport, located just 15 kilometers from the Victoria Falls, is now one of the best and busiest airports that Zambia has. Vote for Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the PF that have brought you change.
Every day for me means hard work. Going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. Oracle Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, Oracle, for my perfect skin.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Zambia has embarked on an economic journey for individual financial emancipation, empowering its citizens through land acquisition and developing the nation through agriculture. This time, Zambians are coming together, taking it upon themselves with the help of government to develop this great nation by taking individual responsibility and ownership of this great nation. The economic revolution has started. There are thousands of Zambians with a can-do mindset who are resolute, unstoppable, full of confidence and conviction that Zambia's set time of favor for development is now. Don't be left out. This could be the time you have been waiting for. Camnet Television, in conjunction with the United Agrivision Consultancy Limited, will be hosting a national conference on becoming a millionaire through agriculture. Date: 1st October and 2nd October 2021. Charges: 750 kwacha per person per day, that includes lunch. A limited number of participants through Zoom have also been reserved. You can also be part of the conference from the comfort of your home by registering online via Zoom, joining the people who were born for greatness. Charges for participation via Zoom are only 300 kwacha per person. Time: 0730 hours to 17 hours. Registration and confirmation of attendance will take place on the 29th of September 2021. Time: 14 hours to 17 hours. Venue: the Healing Word Ministries International, the home of Camnet Television in Apex Hill, Kabulonga Road, Lusaka.
Welcome back. We now look at international news. More than 350,000 people had to flee their homes in Mali in 2020, according to the Norwegian Refugee Council, and aid agencies say the humanitarian catastrophe is unfolding in areas out of reach. Last December, UN investigators told the Security Council that they suspect Malian defense and security forces of committing war crimes, killing those they are meant to protect. Mali's military took power last week in the second coup in 9 months, saying they can do what the civilian government cannot, and that is to restore state security. Al Jazeera also reports that in Senegal, armies say it has captured rebels' base in the south. It is the latest offensive against an armed group that wants to increase an independent state in the southern Casamance region. Senegal hopes the operation will help end one of Africa's longest civil conflicts.
An act of defiance and freedom. Smoking was something armed groups wouldn't allow him to do. After being caught bad-mouthing fighters of the armed group Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal-Muslimin, an affiliate of Al-Qaeda, Hassan Diko was abducted. He was given a choice: join the fight or be killed. He escaped last week, finding his way to this slaughterhouse on the outskirts of Bamako.
I'm so scared. Even here I'm afraid, because there are informants giving back information, and the day they'll find you, or if you go back to the village, they'll cut you up.
The Al-Qaeda affiliate controls large swaths of land in the center of the country. Schools are shut, playing football is forbidden, even listening to the radio or watching TV is banned. Girls are shrouded in black cloth and forced into marriage, including Hassan's wife, who's now being held captive. In the last year, the Norwegian Refugee Council says more than 350,000 people fled the region. Aid agencies say a humanitarian catastrophe is unfolding in areas out of their reach.
The crisis is not only a security crisis, it is also a humanitarian crisis, development crisis, political crisis, etc. So the solution should be holistic. It should go beyond military focus, which has not so far, I insist, it has not resulted in more security for people.
Mali's military junta took power last week in a second coup in 9 months, saying they can do what a civilian government can't, and that's restore state authority. None of the people that we met in this makeshift camp want to return home, despite assurances from the UN peacekeeping mission, the French forces, and the Malian state. They say they're being killed not just by armed groups, but also by the Malian army. Hassan's father was reading the Quran with a group of men at a wedding ceremony when Malian security forces started shooting, killing him.
Until there is dialogue between the armed groups and the Malian army, I feel like nothing will change. Malians will continue to die.
Last December, UN investigators told the UN Security Council that they suspect Malian defense and security forces of committing war crimes, killing those they are meant to protect. With armed groups too intensifying attacks, this has left Hassan wondering who to trust and whether there can be any peace in Mali anytime soon. A final push into rebel-held villages after Senegal's armed forces launched a 2-week ground and aerial assault. Government troops have taken back control of southern districts in the Casamance region, bordering Guinea-Bissau.
This is an important operation aimed at better controlling the border by creating military outposts deep in the jungle. This is to allow the civilian population that fled the area to be able to finally return home.
This is what's left of one of the rebel bases. Provisions and arms were abandoned as Senegal government forces launched their surprise assault. The army says rebel fighters had placed landmines all around the camp.
At least one officer in our ranks was injured when he stepped on an anti-personnel mine. Also, one of our comrades was injured by gunshot.
The Movement of Democratic Forces of Casamance, also known as the MFDC, has been fighting for independence from Senegal for the last 40 years. In the past, the government of Guinea-Bissau and Gambia were hostile towards Senegal and supported the rebels. A spokesperson of the Senegalese armed forces told Al Jazeera that they suspect the rebels of having fled to neighboring Guinea-Bissau. While there has been series of victories for the Senegalese army in the last year, lasting peace will require the cooperation of neighboring countries. But newly elected presidents in neighboring countries stopped funding the rebels, preferring to build stronger ties with Senegal's president Macky Sall.
Today, Senegal has good allies both in Guinea-Bissau and in the Gambia. So it is, let's say, the best time for the Senegalese government to find lasting solution to the Casamance conflict, which means using the military pressure while negotiating with a very weak MLDC.
Following mediation efforts by organizations close to the Vatican, the movement of democratic forces of Casamance called for a full ceasefire in 2014. But the rebels are accused by rights groups and environmentalists of illegal logging and attacking local villagers. This latest assault by the Senegalese army is another attempt to bring this long-standing conflict to an end. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera, Dakar.
Well, that's it for international news. We now go straight into sports news. In sports, Alex BAZO scored a stoppage time equalizer to cancel a Baba Basile 88th minute goal as Zanago held Nkana 1-1 in a dramatic end to a fast-paced MTN Super League match at Sunset Stadium Wednesday afternoon. It means KALAMPA can fight on for their top flight with 2 matches left to play. Meanwhile, Nkana will now hope Power Dynamos and Indeni do not win their games while they try to improve their goal difference to have an opportunity to survive. Well, that sporting item brings us to the end of our news. The headlines once again. KAMBWILI fails to appear before court for commencement of defense in a defamation of the president case. COVID-19 claims 48 lives in 24 hours with 3,026 new cases recorded. Vice President charges that violence has no place in Zambia. In international news, Mali displaced people afraid to go back home. And in sports news, BAZO rescues KALAMPA as they continue to fight relegation. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, and it's coming from Romans 8:26-27, and it reads, "In the same way, the Spirit also joins to help in our weakness, because we do not know what to pray for as we should, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us with unspoken groanings. And he who searches the hearts knows the Spirit's mindset, because he intercedes for the saints according to the will of God." That's all we had for you on the news desk this evening. Ensure that you observe the COVID-19 health measures as announced by the health authorities. Thank you so much for choosing us. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. Good night.